as you may have noticed, well, that's the president, but there we go. You think I'd learnt TV by now. I love Holdens, right? I bleed red, no question about it. I do have a soft spot for Dick Johnson, Ryan Story and their team, but that's my the only dent. Otherwise, I'm all in on Holden. And as you know, Holden is disappearing as a brand, and a man who is a diehard Holden fan, I'm assuming, because he decided to use time in the federal parliament to call out General Motors for some of their disgraceful behaviour about this incredible and iconic Australian brand, is Senator James McGrath, and he joins us right now because he has an idea. It is time for us to buy Holden for how much money, Senator?
$1, $1. And not because it's worthless, it's because it's priceless.
Great point. So give me an idea about what brings you to the point of rage about how GM has just pissed this brand away.
Because what's happened, especially here in Queensland, is that the General Motors are treating the Holden dealers, and there are 185 Holden dealers around Australia, and they're essentially the guardians of the Holden brand in a way, because they're the ones who sell the cars, you go and get them fixed up there and so forth. And what they're doing with the retirement of the brand is they're doing over the Holden dealers. That means not just the family-owned companies, the mum and dad businesses who run them, but all the staff, the mechanics, the allied trades, carrying out the front on reception. All those people are in trouble at the moment because of how General Motors are behaving. And my view is they should sit down and have a proper chat with the Holden dealers and come to a fair deal, not a special deal, but a fair deal about their exit from the Australian market. But then, secondly, let's bring Holden back to Australia. Now, early on in the program, you had a big conversation with Pauline and two former senators about the influence of China, and rightly so. And I don't want to scare you or curdle the milk in the tea of people who are watching here tonight, but what could happen if the Holden brand, owned by General Motors, was bought by a Chinese state company? Now, MG, famous British brand, is now owned by a Shanghai-based company, which is a state-owned company in China. Now, I don't want that happening, and I don't want to play the jingoistic card here. I want the Holden brand to come back to Australia. I want, I'm writing to, there's a lady called Mary Barra, she's the worldwide president and CEO of General Motors, and saying, look, Holden's not worth anything to you. It's worth a lot to us here in Australia. Give it back to us. You're retiring the brand. You're not going to do anything with it. We'll take it off you for $1, the numerical equivalent of a peppercorn, and we'll do something with it. We'll hand it over to the Holden dealers. We've got to bring Holden back to Australia.
Such a good point about MG, because this is the thing where these things just become, IP to big countries, to big companies, and for GM, as you say, oh look, there's this thing. If Chinese company says, oh look, we want to whack a badge on a Great Wall, and pretend that they're Holdens and go back and sell them, all of that rubbish that goes on. Obviously, we desperately want to avoid that, but I reckon you're onto such a good point as well about those dealers, those suburban businesses, and again, there's a bit of a theme tonight about the people who have gone all in. They risked everything. They put all their emotional investment in. They missed all those, school, family events because they had to keep their business going, and now they're swinging. And some mob in the US is deciding, really quite poorly how to treat these people at a time when, frankly, it's actually pretty good to buy a car at the moment. Finance is dirt cheap, and thanks to the government, you can write off, if it's a business, up to 150 grand. You can buy cars at this point in time.
Oh, totally. I think the message has got to go out to General Motors is that here in Australia we're watching how they behave, because dealers have been doing it tough. And these are mum and dad businesses, but they're actually mum and dad and son and daughter and grandma and grandpa. These are generational family businesses, especially in the burbs, and especially in regional Queensland and regional Australia. And I would encourage people I know coronavirus is happening and we all should be hiding in the corner sucking our thumb under a doona, but go out and buy a car, support the dealers, and in terms of, you can write it off on tax if you've got your own business going. So we've got to get this economy moving again.